Last July, President Barack Obama nominated you to be ambassador to Malta. What did you know about Malta before being appointed as ambassador?
Well, I think every Catholic who's familiar with the scriptures knows that St. Paul arrived here in a way that he hadn't planned, but nevertheless was providential for the expansion of the faith and of the church. So I knew of St. Paul's shipwreck. I knew of the profound Catholicity of the country. I also knew that it was a country that had, while it was suffering some from the economic downturn that the world had suffered from, by virtue of its own sound practices, was indeed in better shape than in many places around the world. And I was anxious to find out why that was the case in terms of the people of Malta.
Have you ever been to Malta before?
You know, it was never my privilege to be here before. So as a consequence, I talked to virtually everyone I could who either had Maltese relatives or who had been here. And in particular, most helpful to me was Molly Bordenero, the former ambassador, as well as Tony Gioia, who was an ambassador several times removed. And both of them spoke just so glowingly about their experience in Malta. Indeed, I expect both of them to be my house guests sometime in the near future.
You're a pro-life Catholic serving as ambassador in a Catholic country where there's a common consensus against abortion. Do you think that this is pure coincidence?
No, I don't think it's a coincidence. I mean, one of the things that I did for President Obama when he was candidate Obama was to advise him on matters of faith and to be a person reaching out to especially the Catholic community in the United States. The President views abortion as a moral tragedy. I view abortion even more strongly as a matter that is contrary to what John Paul II always taught was the importance of maintaining the culture of life, the protection of life from the moment of conception to the moment of natural death. I think the President was sensitive to the history of this country and to its faith tradition, and he wanted an ambassador that would appreciate the significance and sensitivity of those subjects.
During these few weeks in which you were serving as ambassador to Malta, did you notice any particular differences in the way citizens look at politics as opposed to Americans?
I think the Maltese citizens love politics. Americans like it as well, but they get distracted by other things, and as a consequence, the turnout in American elections is much lower than the turnout to vote in Maltese elections. I think it's a great compliment to the strength of the republic, to the strength of democracy here in Malta, that people take the interest they do in political questions. They really do enjoy talking about them at any given invitation and at some length. And of course, being the student of Maltese politics that I am as an ambassador to your country, I'm just simply delighted by those conversations.
What do you think are the Maltese perceptions of Americans?
You know, I think it's one of great friendship, as is ours. The relationship between our two countries is one of great respect. And the Maltese people that I have met have been extremely welcoming. They've been very thoughtful. The language, again, in the scripture is St. Paul was treated with uncommon kindness. I have been treated with no less.
Malta is a very small country. What do you like and dislike about it being such a small country?
I like the fact that it's a small country because one of the things that is true about life is that sometimes it's too large. The internet expands it to the limits of our mental capacity to keep up with the flow of information. In a place like Los Angeles, you seem to spend most of your life just simply on a freeway. And one of the very nice things about Malta is that it's cosmopolitan. It has theater, it has music, it has great art, tremendous antiquities that are just magnificent to visit, and yet they're all within reach. They're within the capacity of a family to enjoy on any given weekend. That's very, very nice. for someone coming from a state that has 35 million people and a community that is often so large that you're stuck in a queue or a line.
And finally, what are your plans and priorities for the next 3 years? Will you be the ambassador inaugurating the new embassy in Taali?
We anticipate that the embassy will be available in terms of being completed physically at the middle of July, July 2010. We would then be moving into it during the fall. And so, yes, I plan to be there for the ribbon cutting. And more importantly than that, the President is very conscious of the need to protect the environment. And so one of the things that I intend to do and my co-workers intend to do in the construction of the embassy is to make it as green as possible, to utilize solar cell energy, to utilize wind turbines if we can, to make sure that the mechanicals in the building are using energy in a very efficient and effective way so that it can be a model. So I intend to cut the ribbon in July 2010, but I also intend to brag unceasingly about our commitment to the environment and hold out our embassy as an example of that commitment.
Ambassador, thank you very much.
My pleasure to be with you.